Let me know if I start breaking up too.
Will do.
Alrighty. Looks like we're going. Cool. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Tuned and Strong podcast. That is what this is called, right? I think I got it right finally.
If you have a better name, please let us know. Hi.
Open to name suggestions for sure. I am Dr. Jen Cavus.
And I am Angela McCuiston. Of Music
All
Strong.
right.
Sorry.
And yeah. She's a Music Strong. I am of Tuned and Tone Performance. And you had, we're going to talk today about the inherent good-bad relationship of muscle imbalances. So why don't you get us started with what brought this up?
Yeah, sure. So I'm not sure how many of you who are listening to this follow Instagram or Facebook, but this I found on Instagram, and I actually follow them on their newsletter and such. But there's a couple of people that have a group called Corpsonore, Corpsonore. And they interviewed somebody, they interviewed The Functional Musician, which is his IG handle, Austin Panzer, on muscle imbalances, and are they good or bad? Which in of itself is kind of a black and white statement, and in the realm of fitness, there's a lot of times it depends. Okay, that was with quotes. It depends. So I went into listening to this. I tried to keep an open mind, but I was like, the way they phrased it, I thought, oh, this is what I built my business on. I'm not gonna like this. I don't what and then I listened to it, and the longer they went, the more I went, oh, okay, no, this is a good discussion to have. It's not a black and white thing. And I thought maybe we could go a little further on that tangent ourselves, because the thought was, are muscle imbalances that are created by your instrument inherently good or bad?
Mm-hmm.
It's not so black and white.
Yeah.
Right.
And addressing them is not as black and white as a lot of people tend to approach, The approach tends to be very much like, oh, we must do this or we must do that, instead of there's a different way to handle it than I think a lot of people come around to. So, so you were telling me before we got the recording started about, like, okay, well, here's the setup is like a baseball pitcher or a violinist.
Right. So don't ask me why these two stuck in my head. I don't think.
I think they're good.
They are, but I don't think they talked about them directly, but maybe they did. But okay, so if you think about a baseball pitcher, a right-handed baseball pitcher, they're going to pitch forever with their right arm. The right arm is going to be inherently stronger than the left. Is that a bad thing? No. I mean, we're creating a muscle imbalance. We're creating a muscle imbalance, a strength imbalance, a power imbalance between left and right shoulders. Okay, we can go down the rabbit hole with this. Not wormhole. We can go down the rabbit hole with this. It's like, does that change the relationship from the shoulder to the hip in an X fashion with the left to right, blah, blah? Yes, okay, sure. But for his sport, does it matter if his left arm is as strong as his right? I'm going to say no.
Yeah. Well, and this is where we get into the difference between strength for daily life and strength for performance, which is really what you and I specialize in a very different way. Like, look, I love getting people healthy for life. That's one of my deals, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But when it comes to working with performers, like you were talking about with a violinist, like you're going to bow with your right arm. Okay, well, your right arm is going to have different strength needs than your left, which is going to be a supportive position. And like, I know my arms are off camera, but but yeah, that's going to be a supportive, your left arm supportive and technical at the same time. That's very different requirements. So when you're coming at it from a let's get people strong for their performance needs, you're going to need to address those two arms differently. And that's why a lot of, like baseball strength coaches have to, like, if all you're doing is pitching fast with the right arm, you're going to have to work to counterbalance that. You won't necessarily need to do the counterbalancing that you do on the right arm with the left if they're right-handed pitcher.
Right.
And like you got to think there's no real reason for the pitcher to ever expect to be able to pitch the same with the left arm.
No,
Not that they should do it here and there, but like
they don't.
getting
I mean, especially if you're in the major leagues. I mean, when you're getting up to that level, you're only expected to do one thing and you're expected to do it well. Just like a musician, just like a professional musician, you're expected to do one thing and do it well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You don't need to change, like, to get perfect balance. It doesn't necessarily help you. So when you think about, oh, go ahead.
For performance needs, just
right.
to be crystal clear on what we're talking about.
Yes. I mean, yes. So when we're talking about, okay, so for example, our violinist, you're the right arm is doing one thing, the left arm is doing more supportive thing. Or if you are, a right-handed violinist, are there left-handed violins?
You know what? I've known some southpaw string players, and they still bow with the right
They
end.
still bow. Okay, all right. So yeah, so the left is always this way, the right's this way.
There are weirdos out there. Not weirdos, but maybe there are different ones. Like, I'm sorry, I did not mean to say weirdos. Like, I'm a weirdo just in case that comes off wrong. No,
it's fine. It's fine. But I mean, you have very different strength functions that have to happen and endurance functions that have to happen. And so when it comes to muscle imbalances, the thought is, can those muscle imbalances help you? Yes. Should we train those muscle imbalances in a way that actually it doesn't make them worse, but you need strength and strength endurance in those specific areas. However, can those imbalances also possibly lead to overuse injury because of those imbalances? And the answer is also yes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I was going with that.
So then we get into, okay, well, how do we address these, right? So that top tier performers can strengthen what they need to do. Like, okay, so if you've got left arm or left side issues, again with our violins, because I think it's a clear instrument to demonstrate on. It's a little weirder for like clarinetists, right? But so you're supporting with your left arm, and say you start getting a collapse or something on your left side.
Can I talk about a guitarist instead?
Sure. Yeah.
I actually had a local guitarist here in Nashville come see me for this exact same issue. So continue, but I'm going to go with guitar.
Sure. But I mean, okay, so say you get a collapse for whatever instrument on one side that's supposed to be the supporting arm. How do we address that so that the collapse doesn't lead to overuse without also damaging overall health and functionality, right? Because at the end of the, yes, we're performers. At the end of the day, we're also people. So like, great if you got a great strong supporting arm and a really nimble strumming arm, if we're going to talk about guitars, or bowing arm or whatever. Great. Do you hurt at the day because did crisscross or something like that? And how do we address that? Oh, yeah. Sorry, we're having internet connection today. So, internet connection issues. So, yeah, is how do we address strengthening what you need? But then at the end of the day, you're also a person. So if you're great at one thing, but then you've got some sort of crisscross twisting or whatever, how do we make sure that that thing that you need for your performance is not hurting your life,
Right.
Yeah. So I've got some thoughts on that. I don't know if you want to unpack yours first. If you just want me to ramble.
If you've got some thoughts, go for it first.
Okay. All right. Well, hopefully I won't break up. You let me know if I do.
I will.
Yeah. So what I seem to run into a lot of is a lot of the traditional approaches, if you will, the ones that people tend to either go to first if they're pushed towards that by somebody else because they think it's safer, or that's just what their mind goes to for whatever reason. It's a lot of, okay, we'll say your right arm is stronger than your left, for instance. And so they go, well, we want to do this. I'm like, no, 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 no. You don't want to do this. You want to do this. You know? It's the same thing with if you've got some sort of nervous system imbalance where you tend towards depression or anxiety, because those are two ends of the spectrum, and you tend to go towards one or the other. And clinical is different. Sometimes that's a whole different ballgame, but you tend to go towards one or the other as just like in your daily life, depending on what system you're running. Well, if your depression arch is this big and your anxiety arch is this big, it's hard to collapse this down. It's not as hard to get this back up. And when they meet in the middle is when you're not suffering from either, because they're canceling each other out or balancing each other out, depending on how you want to look at it. So yeah, I mean, it's that like, great, we want your left arm to be supported enough, or your oblique, or, your teres, or something in that chain, that you don't have that collapse. We also want to make sure that your right side is not overcompensating or understrong, so that you end up with some sort of twist and just daily life pain, right? So that's my thoughts on that.
No, it's great. That's completely opposite, not opposite, but different from what I was going to say. So it comes at it from a different perspective. So the reason I chose guitar is because I've talked with a lot of guitarists this week, and I had one guy who's he mostly does electrical now, or electric guitar, but he was talking about how he's just started picking up classical again, and classical guitar is very different from electric guitar. But he said, either way, I'm pretty sure I have a permanent twist to my left side. That can lead to issues in your daily life. That can lead to all kinds of things. So would that be something that you would want to foster and increase that muscle imbalance for the positive? No, that's something that you would probably want to mitigate. You'd want to correct or try to help correct that muscle imbalance, because that is just it's kind of like a byproduct of doing what you do, but it's not inherently helpful to doing what you do. Because if you look at classical musicians, a lot of them are very upright, but then electrical goes towards the left, and then it's just easier to go and go and go and go instead of bringing it back to forward, right? So we have that left to right asymmetry. But then I spoke with another guitarist this week. He actually came to the gym and he said, my I've got a, what does he say? I think he like, my shoulder's always giving me fits. It's popping, it's cracking, I'm getting shooting pains, I'm getting this, that, and the other. And I'm like, well, come in and let's see what's going on. And he was presenting some kind of impingement syndrome going on. He didn't bring his guitar with him, unfortunately, but I got to watch him play last night, actually. And I did notice he tends to hunch. He tends to shrug a lot and then look to the left. And so that's a lot of compression in the left, quadrant area here of your neck shoulder, right? Mm-hmm. So it doesn't have anything to do with what he's doing with his hands or his wrists or his elbows. It all has to do with the shoulder and the neck. So when it comes to that, do we want to make that stronger, or do we want to relax, release, let that go and relax that area? We wanted to relax it. So what I did with him is I helped him we checked his chest, some of the muscles in his neck, in his shoulder. We did some stretches. We used the massage gun. We did some stretches, and then we did a band of distraction for his shoulder, so he got a little bit of traction in that joint. And he left with no pain, and he hasn't had pain since. He's been continuing those. But then beside that, it wasn't just, okay, we had to relax it, but I did give him some things to do, like, okay, so as you play guitar, your left arm, like violin or viola, is externally rotated. Yes. The right arm is internally rotated, because that's how you strum, pick, whatever you do, right? Bow. You're not the opposite. If you just make that opposing motion, it feels weird, if that's your instrument, right? So I gave him some internal rotation exercises for his left, some external rotation for his right, and some chin tucks to help relax all of this stuff and keep that strong and balanced. So that was one that we did have to mitigate the risk of and help the muscle imbalance that was going on. Is there a way to, after that, then increase the endurance of those muscles Without the compensation, maybe. I mean, you or within the compensation, I should say, not without, but within the compensation, yes. But we had to get rid of the acute problem first.
Yeah, and that is why a lot of these therapies exist, right? Is to deal with the acute issue. And a lot of the, like, even for me, I mean, a lot of the problem was that, okay, I went through the acute rehab and then I got stuck. I'm like, well, I got stuck because I did everything to release the issue,
Right.
but I never got anything to strengthen the weakness that was causing the problem, because it's usually caused by a weakness. So like,
Yeah.
yeah, if his, say his pec is weak, or say his lat is weak or something like that in that chain, and that's why he's doing this, because
Mhm.
this has to take over for whatever's going on in here. Yeah,
Yep.
he needs to strengthen that. He's going to need to. And that's actually increasing that imbalance, if you will. But and I know I said later,
Earlier.
I said earlier, we don't want to do this, we want to do this. Really, what we want to do is this. you know,
We're
whatever's
raising the
gonna,
levels continually, both sides.
whatever's gonna help, right? Whatever's gonna help with what your performance is. Get rid of the pain, increase the strength, and maybe at the end you look like this instead of like that, because this is only sustainable for so long.
Right, right,
And
right,
if
right.
you only work on getting to here, your performance is going to suffer because you're never pushing what you need to make your performance better.
Right.
So it's that, try to keep yourself balanced enough to not have pain, to make sure that you are in the best position possible to improve what you need to make your performance better. You
Right.
know, like, yeah, that might have been
Yeah, you
long-winded.
increase your strength and your stamina and the muscles that you need to have to
hmm
play your instrument, but you also want to incorporate corrective exercises to address the weak muscles that are causing those muscle imbalances. Not that they're bad or good, but
Right.
you don't want to
They're
leave them alone.
they're there for a reason, and as long as they are being addressed to keep you healthy, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right. Like, it's going to be a thing. Nobody's perfectly balanced, you know, and
No,
and
and you
that
have to have these muscle imbalances to be able to play your instrument. It's not like they need to go away completely.
right, right. And the release type techniques, I mean, man, you're not going to be able to get in there to strengthen what's necessary if you're all locked up. It's when we're not using them together is when we run into really big issues.
Right.
And that's a lot of what I see with a lot of my current clients too, where it's like, man, this really hurts. Like, okay, this hurts because this is too weak, or whatever. And like, okay, so we're going to do light work on strengthening the thing that needs to be working, while releasing the other side, and some
Yep.
stretching, stuff like that too. Yeah, so it's there's a lot of like, oh, I'll just do this and then I'll be okay kind of mentality. And it's like, if that were the case, you and I would not specialize in this.
Bingo.
Like,
Exactly.
if it weren't so complex as to be deeply interesting, I would not have pushed myself into this field, and I wouldn't be here still, because, like, man, I love a problem. Like,
I know, I know. I would not have created a 10-year career so far out of this. And you know what I love? What I love is that every person is
Mhm.
different. Every
Yes.
single person. I don't care if you give me 20 guitarists, they're all
hmm
going to have some kind of similarity, but they're all
Yeah.
going to have something that's different. And
hmm
it's fascinating and fun because we're all different people. We all have different daily lives and different routines, and those things play into
hmm
how we play our instrument and what happens with our bodies, whether we get pain or not, or when we get pain or not.
Yes. Yeah, big time. And I mean, even something as innocuous as, like, how tall are you?
Oh, that's a big
That's
one.
that's going to affect how you approach your instrument. End of story.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
most short people I see are very much, they're super upright, and they're going to have a lot of problems in their back. And a lot of it is just like as humans, we have a natural, I like to think of it as empathy. Some people think of it as like desire to fit in. You're just trying to be with the people around you. So if you're super short, you're trying to be up there with the tall people. And most of the super tall people I know have a lot of this going
A lot of
on. And
hunching going on.
I did too, because even though I'm average height now, I grew up taller than a lot of my friends. I was taller sooner
Can't
than most
relate.
of my friends. You know? So I was
I'm
very
all of
much like this.
5'3". Sorry.
You know? But that's what I found, like, not just me, but also my super tall friends very much like this because they're trying to be with the people around them. So if you got somebody like that, like, okay, I'm used to being in this position, I'm going to have a lot of issues with my clarinet, right? Because I'm already here and the clarinet pulls this further and I need to be more open, but I'm not comfortable being open. And then I see the really short people who are like, oh, my back really hurts when I play clarinet. And I'm like, because you're so hyperextended,
Yep.
because you're used to being so short and trying to reach the taller people, you know?
I'm not that short, but
So,
yeah,
and
it's true.
and me, you take somebody like me or somebody who's like 6'4" or whatever, and then you take somebody who's like 4'9" and you put us on clarinet and we both manifest with right arm pain for different reasons.
Yep. Yep. That's just fun.
Yeah, it's fantastic to from a working with people's perspective. It's fantastic because it's you're trying to figure out how to work with this
Pardon me.
person, bless you, and what
Thank
they're
you.
dealing with. That's fun for me, even though I don't wish that problem on anyone.
No, I didn't mean it was fun because they're in pain. I meant it was fun
No,
because it's
no,
an
no.
interesting problem to solve. Everybody's different.
Just to be crystal clear on that, if I had my way, nobody would need to come to me because they wouldn't hurt to begin with.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, but then we'd be out of a job and have to do something else. I mean, I guess I
Yeah.
just have to play my flute. It, that
Well,
wouldn't work. I'd be back. I'd be right back here. I mean, it's just how the body works.
yeah,
You know.
it's a factor. It's the human factor. We're gonna end up like this. And it's
We
okay.
are. We are. I mean, think about your rest activities. What do you do when you rest? When you're done practicing, do you get on your phone? Do you play a video game? Are you on the computer? Or do you drive? What do you do? Are you gardening? Those are all forward activities. Is there anything
Right.
that you do when it's time to rest? Do you lie on your back on the floor? Do you roll around? Do you take a nap? Do you just, I don't know, go for a walk? I mean, there are different things that you can do that don't make the issue worse that you don't even think about. It just has to do with not even static posture, just posture in general.
Yeah.
It all
Yeah.
adds
Well,
up.
and if we want to get real complicated about it, like, okay, if you are sitting, are you sitting on a couch? Are you sitting on a regular chair? Are you sitting on a hardback chair? Are you sitting on the floor? Do you have a cushion under your butt if you're
How are you
sitting on the
sitting?
floor? Or are you sitting, like
You have one
all
leg
of this?
underneath you. Is it always the same leg? Is it? You cross your feet? Are you like me and I can't touch the floor unless I'm on my toes? That's me. It's a real thing for short people. Yeah, I climb
Yeah.
on counters. I can't reach stuff. So,
Right.
but I mean, like, if I'm in a normal chair and I'm sitting way back here, my feet don't touch the floor. They're swinging right now. I got to be way over here for my feet to be flat. And if I'm in the middle, my
Mm.
feet are, I'm on my toes. So that means my calves are like, they're contracted all the time, you know? So it's just something to think about when it comes to your instrument. Like, what's your posture in your daily life? Are you doing things that add to it or already? And that can also depend on, that can also change whether or when you get an ache, a pain, or an injury. It all
Yeah.
adds up.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, like I had one I was already in a bad position. You know what I mean? Like I was already having a lot of problems.
Yeah.
And I had this one couch that anytime I would sit on it for any duration, it would mess up my hip, my right hip, even worse. And that was starting to go into my back. And like, look, I didn't really have anywhere else I could sit for any duration of time
Yeah.
comfortably. And so then I found like I'm starting to compensate, like, okay, I've got this pain from sitting on this couch because I already had a problem and then it starts creeping into other things in my life, like, okay, well, I'm in rehearsal and I can't sit on that right hip. So now I'm collapsed down and leaning on the left hip, but I have to stay upright to read my music because I'm like blind as a bat, So like the right side is collapsing in.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
it sounds crazy, but it adds up and it adds up fast
Mm-hmm.
and it compounds, like, so I think the moral of the story, going back to we got a tangented really hard, is like,
Always.
imbalances aren't necessarily bad. We're gonna have different expectations, right? Like you're not gonna have to, as a violinist, support an instrument in rehearsal for 3 hours on your right arm, but you are expected to do it with your left.
Yeah.
So
You're not going to be playing 8-hour gigs on Nashville and Broadway the opposite arm. Like if you're
right,
playing guitar or if you're playing drums, my gosh, I mean, you're going to carry your kid. I was downtown Nashville walking around last night and I was just, I've noticed how many musicians were carrying their gear to and from gigs, and like loading in and out their kits and all this stuff, and like the stuff that they have to deal with and the pedals on the, on their boards and stuff, the guitars and stuff. And, I mean, like I'm thinking about my drummers. You're not going to change thrones. You're going to carry the same throne and the same kit. You're going to load it, and after a while, you get a pattern. You load it in the same way, in and out, and those can contribute to your muscle imbalances as well. And if you're not training to have that core strength and that overall strength, at some point your back's going to give out, or you're going to have pain somewhere.
right,
Um,
right.
and it's all related. But it
Yeah,
doesn't mean that those imbalances are bad. We just have to
right.
strengthen them in a positive way while also mitigating the risk of the imbalances that's in a negative way.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can have both.
Yes. Yeah, we want to
One part.
keep doing this.
Yeah,
So
I think we covered that pretty darn quick
I think so too.
for
I
us.
will have nothing else to add on that subject that I can think of, at least not for right now.
No.
Something else comes up, and if you guys have questions or comments or anything that was unclear, because I mean, I know we've got two, like we're coming from the standpoint of two people who train often. Um, so there are things that maybe we say to each other that we understand, but
Yeah.
maybe if you're not in the gym yet, it doesn't quite click. Um, so did that cut out? Because you froze for me for a little second. Am I still coming through? Perfect.
You're still
Okay.
good.
So yeah, if you guys have questions, please, please, please drop them in the comments, because maybe something we said makes sense to us, but not you guys, and we don't want that. That's not helpful to anybody.
We'd also love your thoughts on this topic as well. What you've dealt with,
Mhm.
what you've seen, what you've struggled with, and what has worked for you or not worked. All
Yes.
comments welcome.
Yes. Alrighty.
Do you want to
More
talk
on.
about the cool things that are going on in your business right
Yeah.
now?
Yeah. Let's talk about that. I guess I can go first. So since we haven't done a podcast since November, which I'm like, okay, I didn't realize it'd been that long. It's been a rough couple months.
Oops. Happy New
If you
Year.
guys, you know, we got some new stuff going on in Tallahassee here. A lot of the options are also available online. So if you're non-local, feel free to hit me up and always work something out. But if you are local to Tallahassee, we've got first Saturday of every month now is going to be our Ladies' Day. So our January ladies topic was abs. And it's never going to be like, like I said in the ads, it's not 90 minutes of crunches, right? it's,
Gosh.
it's learning how to feel the different parts of it and use them in daily activities and be healthier with your core. So February is going to be glutes. We're working on a really cheesy tagline for that, but you got to get that
Butts and
little heart
guts.
shape, you know. Well, my thought was you got to have that little heart shaped bum, right? Give yourself a heart shaped bum for Valentine's Day. Gift
Oh, I
from
love
you, to,
it.
right?
Yes. Yes.
And again,
Who
that's
doesn't
not going
want
to
a
be like
quirky booty?
right. It's not going to be like 90 minutes of squats. We got multiple multiple parts of the butt we can use in different movements. So we're going to unpack that a little bit, get you to feel different parts of your butt. things that are connected to it, and how to, if you've got knee pain especially, we're going to unpack a lot of that, because a lot of that stuff is related to, a lot of the knee stuff is related to glutes, and just glute weaknesses. So
All right. You said that's online. You can do that online if you're not present.
the Ladies' Day stuff is in person. If that's something that you're interested in and you're not local, and thank you for asking me this, reach out to me. That's the kind of thing that we can set up, either a one-on-one call, or if you're interested in, like, okay, well, start with a one-on-one, start with just like a little consult. That's all free. One-on-one's not, the consult is free. But start there, and if it turns out like, okay, well, this is really helping me, do have custom programming options that you can do from your home, with whatever equipment you have on hand, or minimal purchases. I think I did a full month of basic training prep for a friend of mine, and the only thing she had to buy was a set of bands, which was like $20. It's not bad at all. Yep. Yeah, and that was specifically for a couple movements. Anyway, long story short. So
no, I'm curious. Like, are you gonna be doing your classes like possibly, like, I don't know, live, and people pay to join you, kind of thing? So like, if they can't be there in person, like if I wanted to join and I can't be there, can I like pay you to join on a live stream or something and do it from my home studio?
That would be something we could set up as one-on-ones. You know what I mean? And if there's enough interest, so if you are interested, be sure you let me know, because if there's enough interest, then there's a reason for me to set up an online group thing. If there's not, I just don't know what people want. I know what my locals want because they're here telling me.
Awesome.
Yeah, so we got that. And we've got, I've got a new group class locally that is totally my baby now. It's called Life Strong. What we do are movements to get you good at whatever life wants to throw at you. So we're going to do things that get you strong. Of course, it's going to be strength-based training. There's going to be some capacity, endurance, all that kind of stuff. And some of it is going to be heavy, but what it's not going to do is not going to make you sore the next day. You should be tired, but not sore. If you're sore, there's something we got to talk about, and we have the space to do that in. So yeah, lots of sandbags, lots of sleds, some dumbbells, ropes, all that's local. All of it's within an hour, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. If you can't make the class time, we have open gym times when you are free to come in and do that workout with me or with one of our other coaches at your convenience. So that's what we got going on right now. If you're not into glutes in February, we're going to have PEX is going to be the next one in March for Ladies' Day, just while it's in my head. Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
So cool. What you got going on?
Couple things. So if y'all don't know, I did a whole series over the last 10 weeks, well, ending in December, of online live instrumental specific workouts. They are now not live because they are now recorded, but they are downloadable. If you are, I don't care if you are an organist, a conductor, an audio engineer, a violist, a flute player, clarinet, you name it, I got a workout just for you. It is downloadable. You can watch it on demand on your whatever you've got. If you're going to have the workout sent to you with bonus material. So I go through it. There's an awful lot in all of these, and I break it down into what you need, and how to figure out what you need and what you don't need. And depending on the day, you might not need everything that's in that thing. So I break it down into a daily thing and also a strength training thing based on your instrument, which is interesting because it's all about what we just talked about today. So my workouts address your muscle imbalances in a way that corrects the, I don't even want to say, quote, bad muscle imbalances and strengthens the good, quote, muscle imbalances. That's not, but you know, we said, like, when you've got those things that you need strengthening, we strengthen those, but we also do it in a smart way where you correct the weaknesses first, which, you know, your body doesn't work in isolation. It works as a whole. Right. So I cover all of those things. Those are all available for download on my website at musicstrong.com under services. Under services, you'll see a lot of things. Actually, I'm doing something else called the COVID comeback. It was like the COVID comeback challenge, and I think challenge is like a little kitschy, so I dropped it. It's not really a challenge. It's like, do you want a program to get you strong enough to when the gigs come back? Because y'all, let's be real. It's January 17th when we did this. We are coming up on a year since COVID hit the ground running and ruined our lives, and took the gigs away and stuff. But they are going to come back. I know a lot of people here in Nashville are starting to go on tour. They're booking gigs. The shows are starting to come back. Orchestras are starting to play again. They're playing outside. They're playing inside. They're doing all kinds of things. This too shall pass. This darn pandemic will not last the rest of our lives. Okay, so we need to be prepared for when that happens. You don't want to just be like, "Hey, we got a gig," and you haven't played in 9 months. Well, you played, but you haven't played. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So these programs, I have a 6 and a 12 week. And I think I mentioned that I'm thinking about getting away from the 6 week because it's really intense. So far, I haven't had anybody be able to complete it.
Yeah.
So it's some tweaking to be done. So the 12 month, wow, 6 week and 12 week. Ha! The 12 week is where I'm going with this. This is the one that you want. This is a workout program. I didn't mean 12 months. My gosh, that's a lot of commitment. So the 12-week program, it's going to lead you through strength, endurance, hypertrophy. It's all those things that we just talked about today that are instrument specific to you, but are going to increase your playing endurance, overcome those muscle imbalances that are not so good for you. So when the gigs show up, you could commit tomorrow to an 8-hour gig and be fine and good to go with energy for days, right? And so I got on a call with Hyper Ice on Friday, and I'm going to be adding some goodies to that. So I'm not sure exactly what, but if it's going to be anybody who signs up for the 12-week quote challenge is going to get a Hypervolt Mini Go, which is like the massage gun. Like you just get it. Or if you get a discount, I'm not 100% sure. I'm trying to figure it out. I think it'd be cooler if you just got it, because then we can use it in the program. You can take it on tour. You can take it backstage. You can use it all the time. Anybody who's ever tried one of these darn massage guns is in love. So that's something I'm working on. But my big thing is I'm working on a program that is not a workout. Y'all need to help me with a name for this because it's real stupid. Right now it's fitness. That's so generic, right? So I think I call it fitness for musicians. Also, is specific but kind of stupid. So I need some help. I'm just gonna be real, I don't like this title, but I know what the end goal is, but I don't know how to put it in words. So what this program is, I'll show you this is like half of it. So your goal is fitness. What are the 3 things you don't want? You don't want injury. The things you don't want: injury, lack of stamina, clueless. You have no idea what to do when things hurt, where to go, what to do about it, right? What are the things you do want? You want to have endurance, you want to be injury free, you want clarity and guidance. And I've got steps on how that lays out. And I'm going to walk anybody who wants in this program. I'm going to walk you through it. There's going to be group coaching that's involved. There's units done on your own time. You get a series of quick wins. You learn how to work out for you. And this is not a workout, but we're going to learn about the anatomy, about how you play your instrument, the muscles you use to play your instrument, and why they might hurt. And where, you remember I've said before, the site of pain is not always the source of pain. So when something hurts, right? Something hurts, you need to look in a different direction. This is going to teach you, oh, wow, this hurts. I wonder if my so-and-so is blah, 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 right? It's going to teach you that, and then we're going to culminate it with learning how you're going to design your own pre-performance corrective exercise daily program. I mean, I'm not doing it for you. You're going to learn how to do it for yourself. So if you're interested in that, I've got a video up here and there. I'm going to keep promoting it. I'm going to redo it. But if you're interested, drop me a line at angela@musicstrong.com. And speaking of that, the ways to find us. You can find me at musicstrong.com. Anything regarding Music Strong is where I am on the socials.
And you're
including YouTube now. Finally, it's Music Strong Fitness.
Nice.
Finally.
Nice. Cool. Great.
A year.
That was, that's a good thing. We finally got that fixed. And if you're looking for me, you can find me at Tuned on the socials at Tuned and Toned Performance. That's tuned with a D and toned with a D. Tunedandtonedperformance.com. If you want my personal one, which is honestly where I'm posting a lot more of my stuff right now, at Doc Beefcake. That's me on the Instagrams. You can find me on the Facebooks. Just look for Jen Cabas. That's with a K, not a C. Cabas. Because everyone misspells it if I say it first. Yeah, that's what I got for today. Did I forget anything? Oh, YouTube. Just type in Tuned and Tone Performance. You'll find me.
Yep.
Anything we got to talk about? I think that's it,
I
though.
think that's it. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Yep. Have a good day, everyone.